There is nothing in these fiscal measures that says that rice will be brought in through the border. Nothing has changed in the importation of rice, apart from the fact that brown rice or rice paddies will be allowed duty-free. That is the only amendment to the fiscal policies. So the extant policies on rice still remain the same. Importation through the land borders is still restricted. And of course, it is already removed from the items that could not access forex. So those who have the money, who have the forex, and if they want to import it, can still bring it. You know that periodically we still have rice imported in the ports. Some of them in smaller packages, in packets, in those processed rice. They still come into the country. It's not under import prohibition as yet. Thank you very much. I wish you a hunger-free day. Very senior officials from government agencies here present, the zonal coordinator, customs area controllers present, gentlemen of the press. You might recall that about a month ago, just over a month ago, I came around to Apapa on an official assignment, and based on the intelligence available to my office, I informed officers that there is an influx of containers that have defied various prohibition laws and regulations in the port. I challenged them to go after these containers and after the importers of these containers and bring them to book. I am happy that our officers in Apapa Command have realized that it's important that we do not sacrifice the health and the security of Nigerians and everyone living in this country on the altar of trade facilitation. I am pleased to state that our officers are now living up to the expectations by executing the mandates that I gave to them to the fullest. Today, I am here to present seizures made by Apapa Command. We have seen a couple of them. They comprise of expired and controlled pharmaceutical products with a total duty paid value of 1.8 billion naira. Let me explain that these items, if they are allowed to exit the ports, would undermine the security of our dear nation by influencing the behavior of individuals involved in criminal activities, often fueled by illicit drugs such as tramadol. Apart from being expired, some of the drugs that we have seen today were imported without undergoing the necessary regulatory requirements, such as the NAFDAC number. We also have containers that were seized largely due to false declarations, ostensibly to evade customs duty payments. And this is tantamount to smuggling. In total, we have seen 12 containers today that have been seized. All these containers were imported in flagrant violation of Section 233 of the Nigeria Customs Service Act 2023. And let me give some details of each of these containers. One of them, a 40-footer with number SEGU 4339917, was declared to contain baclofen tablets, metoprolol succinate, ethanol gloves, losertan potassium, and so on and so forth. However, when subjected to examination, it was found to contain health immune supplements that has expired. And there are lots of other tablets, other active ingredients inside the containers, which are all been expired. In this examined container, as in many others that has been seized by the command, the expired and unexpired medicaments did not carry the required NAFDAC number. In addition to the expired pharmaceutical products, another 20-footer, number DFSU 1362498, was found to contain cartons of Royal Tramadol in 225 milligram package, which were concealed with expired cartons of really extra and the first and the last questions are related to the import guidelines, and I would speak to them last, since this is not why we're here. The first question is talking about whether arrests have been made. Yes, I can confirm to you that some few arrests were made, not all of them. Some have been here for quite some time. The owners did not show up. And the most important thing for us is that we are not allowing these things of questionable quality to get into the hands of Nigerians. And that's what I mean by saying that we are running them out of business. Of course, they must have invested a lot of money into this. We will have to do more follow-up if you want to know what happens to these containers after the press briefing. Traditionally, we hand them over to the relevant agencies that has regulatory oversight over them. The drugs, for example, will be handed over to NDLA. Those drugs, pharmaceuticals without numbers, registration, will be handed over to NAFDAC. And I am surprised that you have never witnessed destruction of this before. It happens, I can assure you. So maybe I would just appeal to those agencies to get media stakeholders involved anytime destruction is being carried out on these elements. They are all from different countries. The containers are all from different countries. They are not from the same countries. I was deliberately silent on the country of importation. Now, talking about the food items. Now, the issue is whether there is going to be whether we are going to struggle to meet our target. Now, every year, federal government, in response to certain situation, has always found it necessary to bring up some kind of interventions. This intervention, this particular one under reference, has to do with measures to address food security in the country in the long run and ending hunger in the short run. What it does means is that there has to be sacrifice that should be made, or that will be made by different agencies of government. And of course, by Nigerians too, who have been asked to tighten up their belts in the last few months. Now we have these measures meant to alleviate our conditions. So Nigeria Customs Service is also, the federal government of Nigeria, through the Nigeria Customs Service, would also bear some of this responsibility and make sacrifices. So from the data that we have, in the last, an average of the data we have in the second quarter of 2023 and the first quarter of 2024, import data shows that we spend an average of 1.3 trillion half of the year. So it's about 2.6 for those items alone, for those items that are exempted alone, brown rice, wheat, those grains items that are mentioned in the concessions. So by our estimates, a total of about 188 billion will be forfeited in terms of customs duties, levies that would have been collected on this. But I really don't think this is too much a sacrifice for the customs of a government to bear when we compare it to the long-term objective of putting food on the tables of Nigeria. We will have to also tighten our belts. We will have to look at our processes and procedures and look at other areas of our operations where we can close some leakages here and ensure that this shortfall does not represent a major dent in our efforts to realize our targets for 2024. Thank you. I mean, there is nothing in these fiscal measures that says that rice will be brought in through the border. Nothing has changed in the importation of rice, apart from the fact that brown rice or rice paddies will be allowed duty-free. That is the only amendment to the fiscal policies. So the extant policies on rice still remain the same. Importation through the land borders is still restricted. And of course, it is already removed from the items that could not access forex. So those who have the money, who have the forex, and if they want to import it, can still bring it. You know that periodically, we still have rice imported in the ports, some of them in smaller packages, in packets, in those processed rice. They still come into the country. It's not under import prohibition as yet.